So I am going to talk about patience again. That's right, patience is important, even in pro wrestling, and it's been the secret sauce of 2023. Also, hello my friends, and welcome to Christmas Eve, or maybe even Christmas Day, when you're watching this review of Collision. If you're not thinking to yourself, Simon, you really need to let it go, well, I'll tell you what needs to let it go, pro wrestling. I am a warrior, and I am the train of fun, and if pro wrestling is going to keep going, so am I. Will I regret this one day? Yes, probably, but I regret a lot of things, much like my parents regret having me. What? Let's up those downs. Anyway, back to this idea of patience. Our first match was in the Blue League when it came to the Continental Classic, and it was Bryan Danielson versus Claudio Castagnoli. So already I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait. But do you know how it ended? In a damn draw. And of course, through the whole tournament, people have been saying, oh my gosh, we're going to get a draw. And we didn't get a draw, so now we did get a draw, and it felt like the best thing of all time. So it was just so much more fun waiting till the end of this damn thing and look at the ramifications, or look at the stakes going into it. Because Claudio knew, well, I have to get a win, otherwise I'm eliminated. Whereas Bryan knew, if I do just get 1 point, everything's going to be fine. But both of them still were going for 3. Honestly, I've loved this whole flubbing thing. Claudio was so ramped up as well. He just smashed Danielson with this lariat to begin with. Even when he was on the floor, Bryan was looking at his mate. You could see it in his face. It's like, what the flub was that? He still came back and stomped on Castagnoli's knee, which shouldn't be a thing, when they were trading monkey flips. I just looked off into the distance and I realized we are lucky to be alive when these two are grappling. Claudio also decided at one point he doesn't care about sportsmanship because, damn it, he needs to be successful here. So what did he do? Boop. He poked Bryan right into his Metal Gear Solid eye. He followed up with a lariat as we got to the 1-2 ooze, but when he went for the big swing, somehow Danielson turned that into the label lock. I mean this. I actually mean it from the bottom of my Tootsie Toes. I could quite literally watch these guys wrestle every single day, and I'd never get bored. Castagnoli kind of ran away to the floor at this point, but he shouldn't have done because he got kneed right in the face. This is when he went crazy too, because he threw his so-called buddy into Simba the Steel Steps and into Barry Barricade. This is another reason the American Dragon is so damn good. He is a babyface basically, but he's also totally nuts. When we got back in the squared circle too, Bryan went 1 drop kick, 2 drop kick, but on the third one, that got turned into the big swing. That's when I was like, damn it, this is a pay-per-view level quality match. I mean, Danielson was even doing this stuff where he applied the label lock, but kind of got in the referee's way so he could abuse the 5 count. That's for Castagnoli. He was just like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna ring Sagat from the Street Fighter tournament, and I'm going to hit you with uppercuts so crazy, you won't be able to see from the other eye. The 15-minute mark was eventually called. This is when they were just smashing each other right in the face. And I genuinely thought, well, I guess we will let Bryan Danielson win. When all of a sudden, Claudio grabbed this man, he gave him the neutralizer, and he pinned him when, the buzzer went off. It was the ring bell, meaning, sorry dudes, you've run out of time, you each get a point. Shib. Danielson also kind of kicked out here as well, so it just leaves a ton of question marks. But ultimately, Claudio is out, Bryan is going through to the semi-finals, and this also meant that Brody King had been eliminated. So don't you come in my house and tell me that sports don't work in pro wrestling if you can't do basic maths. That's not my problem. I'm absolutely giving it up. We then went straight into bigging up our other semi-final, which is going to be John Moxley versus Swerve Strickland versus Jay White, and that's going to be Faboo, when the Acclaimed made their in-ring return. Now, you won't have to forgive me, because I was like, oh yeah, they are the trio champions, so like, when we get to 2024, probably need to light a fire under those belts again. They were taking on the team of Top Flight and Action Andretti. They're now best friends. We made sure that Max Caster and Anthony Bowens got some combos in here too, to remind you at their core they are a tag team. When basically the Martins were doing their thing, and Action Andretti was running around the place, when Billy Gunn tagged in and was like, I may be 60, but I'm massive, and he murked everyone. We also made sure that Dante got in there to run around for a bit, and it seems like he's being really smart at the moment, because of course he's only just got over that injury, and maybe someone told him, look, collision is important, but you don't have to go totally mad, so while he did rock, he didn't rock as much as he probably can rock, and that's the way to do it for longevity. What am I talking about? It was also a pretty close 1-2 ooh after the Flippy Dippy Doodah guys hit the 450, and just when Action was going to go for his shooting star press, which has defeated lots of people, including Chris Jericho in the past, Caster got out of the way, and he hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, surprise roll-up, and he got the 3. Now, we couldn't really see it here, but given the camera angle, it kind of looked like he was holding the tights. Maybe I'm just seeing what I want to see. Now I do understand why we did this, because Top Flight and Action have been on a right roll recently, so we're trying to protect them a little bit. And of course, you're not going to have the Acclaimed lose when they make their big comeback. I think you need to take both of these teams and give them a more specific direction. However, this was fun. up. Hook then accepted Wheeler Yuta's challenge for the At-Worlds pay-per-view, so they are going to have an FTW match. Don't really know what that is, because I am an idiot. When we got big men slapping man meat. Because what an end-of-year gift this was. It was Brian Cage versus Keith Lee. And I watched the whole thing just thinking to myself, my gosh, there's so much meat. And there was double interest here as well, because of course these two are squaring off, because Keith has finally decided, do you know who tried to kill me around about 72,000 years ago? It was Swerve Strickland. Brian is in the Mogul Embassy, so maybe I have to destroy you to get to him. That actually didn't work to begin with, because they cancelled each other out with shoulder tackles, when Brian Cage just did a head scissors. Now, I know we're all used to it at this stage, but maybe we shouldn't be. He is like absolutely massive, and he flies around like a gazelle. He also got a tornado DDT, so he is agile man meat, when Lee decided, look, let's just get back to basics here. And he grabbed him, and he threw him across the ring. That man is really strong. Cage was having none of this though, so he hit a 619. That's when I was just going, this is absolutely ridiculous. When we also got a superplex. So somebody must have reinforced the ring. It didn't collapse. Prince Nana then remembered all the stuff that happened in the past, so he produced a cinder block. So I was absolutely losing my mind, because I was like, they can't do it again. It's most definitely illegal. And Keith Lee then remembered, well, I don't really want to be hit with that thing again. So we hit the Big Bang Catastrophe, 1, 2, 3. Kind of was just like that. We did continue to tease all of this though, because Keith got a mic afterwards, and while he wouldn't say Swerve Strickland's name, he made it very, very clear, I'm coming after you, pal, so you better be ready. He's also another guy that started to make a bunch of house puns, which really makes me laugh, because why did it take so long? And look, better late than never, but better never late. I mean, I think Swerve at the moment probably has to win this, but at least we're going to get it, so that when I'm on my deathbed, I don't have to worry about it anymore. But very strange, man. Up. Timeless Tony Storm was here next, and let's bring in an award, the best new gimmick of 2023. Renee Paquette was just trying to get a word in here, because of course she will be taking on Rio at the pay-per-view. But mostly Storm was like, who are you, Mariah May? Even though they've been talking for months. May did let it be known though that she's finally got her North American wrestling license, so she will be making her in-ring debut soon. But the whole time, the Timeless one basically ignored her. So this friendship, if you can call it that, is not gonna last. I think Storm then promised to gobble up Rio at the pay-per-view, honestly. It's just tremendous. And we're not even doing anything that complex. Sometimes you can keep things nice and simple. It is a wonderful, truly lovely character. And speaking of other people who have smashed it in 2023, here came Christian Cage. He was with Nick Wayne, and bless him, he was finally going to explain to us what did happen in his match with Adam Copeland, although he wasn't gonna let it come out of his mouth. And he welcomed in none other than Shayna Wayne, obviously. Now, some of this I didn't expect in my wildest dreams, but the crux of the matter made all the sense in the world, because Shayna was like, of course I did all of this. Did you see when Adam Copeland got a chair and tried to pulverize my son's brains? I mean, I am a mother, and I would do what any mum would have done. I was like, that is a very, very good point. It also made her realize that the only person that did care about her boy was Christian. And this is when he went off. Because he thinks that Copeland is human garbage, and also, look at this woman. She has worked multiple jobs in order to let her son live her dream, so we should all be saying, oh, Shayna, you're the best. He also doesn't understand how Adam can't comprehend this, because of course he grew up in a single mother household. This is what I was doing, just looking around, shaking my head. He will say anything. And then fell over because he escalated it by saying he wishes that Copeland's mother was still alive so she could be ashamed of him. I was like, how does he make this entertaining? And because I am entertained by it, does it make me a terrible person? I think the answer is yes. Cage didn't stop either though, because he declared his victory a couple of weeks ago as one of the biggest of his career. But it wasn't only the score he made that evening when he basically gestured towards Shayna. Shayna gestured towards him. So let's just say it, my friends, get it out there in case you didn't take the hint. We insinuated that they banged. Probably should have just said the sideways shuffle there, and I can't handle all of it. I cannot believe we're doing it. And of course, Christian did accept the challenge at the World's End, because as far as he's concerned, Edge, the former Edge, ain't even a challenge anymore. There is one final justification for it though, and his reasoning was, he shall do it for all the single mothers of the world. I was like, don't know what to do anymore. How did we get here? So he has yet more awards to give out, because seriously, he has to be the heel of the year. He somehow says terrible, terrible things, but makes it the most fun thing ever. I really don't know how he does it. But I'm absolutely going to give it an up though, and I cannot wait for that match. I think these two are going to cook. Big Bill and Ricky Starks were then backstage. This made me laugh too, because I am utter scum, because they were like, Kenny Omega. He doesn't have diverticulitis. He just didn't want to face off. Now, once again, terrible thing to say, but the sheer audacity of it, I chuckled. It turns out we are still going to do that match though, because Chris Jericho walked in and said, oh, well, we haven't actually done the fine print on that deal, so he's now going to get him a partner. And surely it can only be one of two people, A, Kota Ibushi, or B, the returning Sammy Guevara. Either one is fine. When we had a super interesting clash in the C2. Because as we talked about earlier, Brody King was furious because he had been eliminated based on other matches, but when it came to Daniel Garcia, he is on a big fat 0, and he hasn't even got a draw. In fact, he's lost every single match. Damn. This all ties back into the start of what we were talking about though, because it was all about patience. Because on one hand, you can go, why would I even want to watch this match? It doesn't have any shenanigans attached to it. Or on the other, we told a bunch of tales, and especially in the building, these fans were desperate for Daniel Garcia to finally win. And damn it, he did. Mermanar was also on commentary, so he really drove this home about how important it would be. And Garcia's initial plan was to slap Brody right around the face. I mean, why not just go and play chess with a gorilla? And then Brody just lost his man and started to absolutely kick his ass with these strikes and this death cannonball when he was holding him over the side of the ring and choking him. That's right, he was strangling him. He wanted him to die. We really found something with this Daniel though, because when he just fires up from nowhere, everybody gets behind him. But once again, he probably shouldn't have done it here because King grabbed him and dropped him right on his head. Then he still had the balls though to do his dance, and he actually was able to get a backdrop driver after that for a very interesting 1-2-ooh. But all it was doing was pushing Brody's buttons, and he got back to his feet. He went murder 9,000. The absolute best bit though is when he did hit the Gonzo bomb and everybody and their dog thought this was it, and Daniel Garcia got his shoulder up at 2 and the commentators went mad about that. And when King went for another bomb of power, my word, Dan used the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, and he got the 3. And once again, if you want to see why taking your time does pay off, go and listen to the reaction from the fans. Now, yes, I do admit it would have been better off if we hadn't done the similar finish earlier, but whatever, this was so good, I do not care. And even though he only won a single match, we now have something with Garcia. We got to push him to the moon. Of course, the House of Black were right here afterwards because they were going to finish him off, even though Daddy Magic tried to help. When FTR came out and they're like, no, you're not going to do that. We don't appreciate you. When we confirmed that at World's End, we'll do that tag team match. And I tell you now, it is going to be a contender for Match of the Year, even though it basically happens on the last day of 2023. I think King broke Garcia's fingers before all this as well, so that's not good for him. But all of this does get an up, and just to be the fanboy that I continue to be, I love the C2. This episode of Collision as well, it was just pure warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum stuff, because not only were we getting Julia Hart and Sky Blue, or Sky Black as a team, but Abaddon was teaming with the returning Thunder Rosa. Now, she has been through loads to get here, so I thought that just made everybody feel good in their tootsie toes. And also, she was like side by side with Abaddon. You never know what to expect from they. I mean, they could eat you. It also proposed a really interesting conundrum because who was going to win here? Because, of course, Hart and Sky have only just got together, but Abaddon is taking on Julia for the TBS Championship, and Thunder, well, she's been out for like over a year, so you could have gone in about 72 different directions. I think Julia realized that we were coming to the end of the year as well because she bust out the ultimate comeback move of 2023, the crossbody. But you can't do that to Abaddon, demon. There was a whole story to this match as well, in the sense that we kept trying to tag in Rosa, but we weren't able to. When Abaddon busted out a double face buster, they reached out their hand, they got the hot slap, and Thunder ran wild. So I certainly didn't see any ring rust here, and Rosa did bust out a Northern Light suplex for a 1-2-ooh. When she turned around, she got a super kick right in the face. Blue also was able to get a bomb of power for a 1-2-ooh. When Hart decided, I'm gonna go for the moonsault, but Abaddon decided, no you're not, and they stopped that. Then all of a sudden Thunder Rosa was back, and she grabbed Sky Blue, and she hit the Tijuana bomb, and she got the 1-2-3. I was like, whoop, there it is. Now that kind of makes sense too, because of course at the pay-per-view we are doing Abaddon versus Hart, so we kind of move them to one side. And I suppose we can also do the singles between Thunder and Sky. And that works. It can be all about weather. This was just great though, because never forget the story behind the faces. These are real human beings that have to scratch and claw in order to get back into the ring. I enjoyed this muchly. Give it an up. Collision kept on rocking too, because we got to our main event and the last match in the first round of the C2. And it was Andrade versus Eddie Kingston. Now we had more narratives to talk about as well, because of course Eddie had started terribly here, but now he's slowly climbing the ladder, whereas when it came to Mr. Tranquilo, well, he was on fire. Winner also gets Bryan, so that was nice and easy. And Eddie must have been so fired up here and walked into the match with full meters, because he was going for back fists instantly. But Andrade was like, I got loads of energy, dodge. It was then Andrade who went for the ultimate comeback move of 2023 because he was busting out crossbodies when he went after Kingston's jaw. Now that is low, man. That is really low. How's he going to eat Christmas dinner? It was in the Dragon Screw leg whips, which had become synonymous with Andrade as he continued that on as he hit a Meteora. And at this point, I won't lie, Kingston looked cooked. And given that sounds like the name of my new EP, I think it was true. Because he's just the absolute best underdog on the planet though, when Andrade went for a flying nothing, he cut him off and he just started to go crazy with his machine gun chops. And it just makes you feel something, man. You want him to win. Exploder was then here for a 1-2-ooh, but Andrade quite literally wasn't going to take that lying down, so he did a moonsault to the outside. And what I really enjoyed is the fans were totally split down the middle here. They just wanted everyone to be successful. Damn right. From nowhere to Andrade busted out the back elbow, and I tell you, I totally bet on that near fall, because there was every chance he could have won, and Eddie did kick out, and I felt like an absolute geek. I am. We also saw Kingston escape from the figure four when all of a sudden we got told we have had 15 minutes, and I was like, oh my gosh, are we going to do another draw? And I started to freak out. Which is way over the top. Thankfully I was wrong, although that would have worked too, because as soon as Eddie saw his window, he hit back fist after back fist after back fist. When Andrade was all wibbly wobbly on his feet, Eddie grabbed him and gave him the Northern Lights bomb, and he pinned him for the 1-2-3 once again. This arena went absolutely nuts. It also means he does move forward to the elimination rounds, and Bryan Danielson came out after this to look at him to make sure people knew it was super serious. If you have 5 minutes today, go on social media and see the stuff they filmed for digital thingamajigs. Their interaction was so good, you'd totally believe they hate each other. So these two are absolutely all time, and I am going to give this an up. And given that we've got to the end of the first part of the Continental Classic, I am giving it a golden up. I keep going on about this, but the way we have integrated like real sports with pro wrestling has been absolutely faboo to the point, look at this. My hands are glued together. What does that mean? I don't know. So once again, don't get mad at me just because you can't add things together. It's probably a whole other issue that you need to sort out. And I'm going to give Collision an up, but more importantly, interact with the video. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Monday Night Raw. I just want to say thank you so much, my friends, for this last year. I appreciate you. If you are watching this on Christmas Day, make sure you enjoy yourself. And I will see you again, kind of in 2024, but there's some wrestling before that too. We've talked about it. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, goodbye.